It's an extra special day for shirts.
My God.
Today is the last day that you can get the fall design.
You're so lucky.
Oh my gosh.
I wish I were you. That's how lucky you are.
Also, there's a new one.
Holy shit, guys.
Ba 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 ba! It's the shirt. It's so cool. You should get it.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
fine.
bye.
Okay, enjoy the podcast.
Let's do this. Hello, we are Hannah.
Echo.
And Crystal.
And this is a news, culture, and current events podcast from the perspective of 3 YouTubers. Crystal,
Echo.
what are you salty about today?
Salty about taking a break.
Take a break.
Yeah. Beautiful, salty internet breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It needs to happen, and nobody wants to do it.
does.
And you sound so old when you're like, get off that social media for a while. Take a social media cleanse. That's like
Oh my
a
goodness.
50-year-old
Right?
thing to say.
Oh, it
But,
is.
you know, we're all 100, so that's the way it goes.
Especially because, like, I love the internet so much.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I don't know. Right now I'm having this point where it's just, like, sensory overload. So I'm on a, like, 3-day internet break where I'm just cutting off of, like, the social media stuff. Not stopping editing or working on videos and stuff, but just like I don't want to listen to the news cycle for a few days kind of thing.
I think
Yeah.
that's beautiful. It's
We
just
need to
so
do that.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you're gonna feel like so well rested, especially, I don't know, mental health wise. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
go back and forth on this because sometimes I just see things that make me so incredibly happy, but it's not like a true happiness. Man, this is gonna get super existential right away.
We're getting quick, really quick.
Yeah.
It's
Get into
No,
it.
I think I get what you mean. Exactly.
I don't know. It's
I
like
understand.
we were talking about.
For me, like, when I'm scrolling through my Twitter feed and I see, like, oh, cool, this one happy thing, it's, like, this tiny, like, pop of, like, what, dopamine or whatever it is, just, like,
Yeah.
this nice little, like, satisfying moment, this, like, teeny high, and then you keep scrolling and it's like, oh, by the way, this is the, like, new
Yeah.
Supreme Court justice, and then the world is sad, and then that
World is
lingers.
sad.
Yeah, that definitely.
Just gotta hide
stinks.
yourself in the memes. Just get into a pile of memes and roll around them like it's fall time. Just memes everywhere. That's what you need.
read an article about how, like, what's up with suicidal memes and how they may actually help people and, like, help suicide prevention. And I don't know, it bummed me out so much for some reason because I was like, I don't know. I love those types of memes. I really do. As a person who was suicidal for years,
Yeah.
they're just so fun.
Yeah. Like, also, they just scream so, like, they're such our generation.
They are.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a weird thing to say, but, like, complaining on the internet about, like, how you want to die is just so millennial. I don't know.
My
That's just,
God,
like...
it is. It is. And no other
It
generation,
really is.
I feel like, I can't prove it, but I feel like no other generation in history would understand that.
Probably.
I can't imagine, like, maybe in, like, the Dark Ages, there was, like, some plague kids.
A plague.
That were, like, plague kids. Ready
Plague
to
kids.
die.
You guys are missing Hannah's motion. She's like, make it a sign. Oh, I can't.
Sometimes,
Plague kids.
sometimes I wish this was an audio.
Millennials are the new. Millennials are the new plague.
We
kids.
should do that at some point. We should, at some point, like, actually set up and put on makeup and look like real human beings.
Maybe for
Film our
our
podcast.
I don't know, 100th episode or something.
Oh, shoot, 100
Yeah, that's a good
episodes?
idea.
I'm tired, man.
I know.
Tired. Wait. Real quick, I'm gonna put a pause in this episode. How many videos do you guys have on your channel? Just in
Ooh,
Oh,
mine, I think, is
do you mean
just
like
over
have ever
200.
been
Yes.
or right now?
I
Because
don't know.
I've deleted
Dude,
hundreds.
you delete
I've been
videos?
doing. Well, when I made the switch, so back
Yeah, I remember
to
you
like,
telling me this.
I made this huge switch because I was uploading just nonsense on my channel, just like here and there and here and there, and video song cover, video games playthrough. I'm gonna talk about a fandom. It was a mess if you were there for the Dark Ages. And then I deleted when I made no, I heard that it was actually detrimental to your channel to do that, and it was suppressing me in the algorithm. And so I downloaded them all. I still have them. And then I deleted them, like perma-deleted. They're not privated, they're gone. So I've deleted over 100 videos of my internet history.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I was doing this for a
that's
long
not
time.
the answer I expected. I haven't.
I have so many.
I don't think I've deleted any. I've privatized a couple.
Really?
But I don't
Never at all?
I don't think I've ever deleted a video.
Really?
See, like, I have deleted, like, some videos. Usually it's, like, if there's, like, a copyright claim on it or something, and I'm, like, it's, like, a private video, then I'm, like, I don't like looking at it. I just don't want it on my channel in general, because it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's the total count?
So many.
Mine is just over 200, I believe. It's, like...
I'm curious
It's somewhere between 200 and 300. I can't remember, but I know I had, like, a 200th video at a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sitting right around there, too, like, pushing 300, but in the 200s still. And looking at that number is so daunting. Man, this is such a sidetrack, but, like, I like thinking about that sort of thing of, like, we've accomplished so much, even if it's all bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I have 119 videos at the moment, and I deleted well over 120, so I have, like, about the same as you guys.
Look at us.
Yeah.
We're all twinsies.
I love going back and watching my old videos, because I remember the space I was living in when I filmed the videos, and that's, like, it's such a, like, flashback almost. It's like a weird scrapbook. It's a great way to, like, connect yourself to your own past.
It's like listening to an old album. And you're like, oh man, I remember exactly how I was feeling when this came out. Like, exactly how I was feeling. Yeah, as soon as I see my old dorm room, I'm like, I remember that whole time. Just everything about that. I don't know, there's something about seeing it.
It just all comes back.
Yeah, and all that trash in the corner of my room from my roommate. Like, half of my comments were about how disgusting my room was.
Damn.
Oh god, it brings me back.
For me, it's like, even if there's, like, a wall in the background, I'm like, oh, I remember the room that I was sitting in, even though, like, you can't see it in the video. It's, like, in my head. It's great.
Yeah, alright, we can get back to, whatever we were talking about before. Sorry.
Okay, internet breaks.
Yes.
Let's talk about, like, so there's, like, okay, I'm gonna call it, like, a social media break and content break.
I like to think of it
because
as, like, a sabbatical.
I feel like there are... Yeah, there's, like, I feel like you can take breaks from, like, the work that you're putting out on the internet, and you can take breaks from, like, the input that you're getting from social media, Facebook, and Twitter, and all those things. Right now, I'm taking, like, an input break, and I'm just not, like, I'm blocking out the internet, and I'm pretending it's not screaming at me. Right now, I think that's part of what it is. I feel like the internet is yelling at me constantly from, like, all different corners, and I'm just, like, I'm putting in some earplugs and pretending that the internet is not screaming. And I'm just, like, not listening for a few days so that I can just work on my own stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you do, like, content breaks, when you just, like, burn yourself out and you can't work on anything anymore, it kind of sucks because it's not like you can take a paid vacation.
Yeah. That's difficult.
Like, you just have to make this really hard decision of, like, okay, I have to do this for my mental health and just deal with the negatives of...
I've done that, like, so many times at this point. It's like schedule. I'm not cool enough to have a meme, but if it was, like, a meme of, like, I'm taking a break, but, like, it's once every 3 months, that's me. Like, I don't upload for 2 months, once every few months. Okay. And sometimes it's mental health, and sometimes it's other stuff, but it always fucks me over.
But listen...
Every time.
I tweeted yesterday, I think, that it would be great if we were invited to VidCon, and VidCon was asking what creators wanted to go. So I was like, you know, might as well. Shot in the dark. Never gonna happen, but still I want to try. So I tweeted it out to everybody, and one of the replies was, well, it would be great if you still made videos. It's been a month.
I saw.
It's been a month.
Oh my god, I saw that.
It's been a month.
I fucking saw that. For a second, because I was tagged in it because it was at you.
Yeah.
But I was like, I thought it was at me because I've been longer than you haven't posted. And I was about to get sassy, like, well, if you watched my live stream yesterday, you wouldn't know. But then I saw that it was directly to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's not fair.
I'm sure it wasn't, like, meant... I'm sure it was, like, a passing thought that this person was like, I'm gonna put my little fingers on a keyboard.
Yeah.
But, at the same time...
It's one of those things.
Go fuck
it's
yourself.
just like...
Yeah. I don't know. This is the thing. If you upload every day, after a week, they'll say, where were you? If you upload once a week, after 2 weeks, they'll say, "Where were you?" If you upload once a month, they'll forget.
Yep. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
It's just the way it is. And I don't know. It's exhausting. I know it's a job, but at the same time, there's something more exhausting about it than, like, a normal job. Because we've all had plenty of normal jobs.
Oh, yeah.
This is,
so
like,
many.
some next level stuff. And so this is why we're talking about, like, mental health, breaks,
Oh, God.
YouTube burnout. Because it's a next level kind of thing that I feel like you can't understand unless you do it.
It's also hard to escape because even when you take a break, like, even when you're like, I'm gonna make a decision, like, this is what I'm doing, it's still in the back of your mind eating away at you, like, are you ever gonna come back? What are you gonna do when you do come back? How are you gonna handle what's happened? Are you still gonna create? You know, like, what are you working on now? How does that fit in the future? Like, and it never goes away. So, like, when you take a break from your work, like, if you go on vacation, you don't have to think about shit. They call you, like, oh, so-and-so didn't come in. You're like, your problem, bitch. Like, it's not your problem. On YouTube, it's always your problem. On the internet, it's always your problem.
Part of that is that, like, when you have this job, it's almost impossible to separate your free time from your work time. Because it all just blends together and becomes one. And I used to have this school counselor who would always talk about how, like, you just have to get through school because when you're in school, it's a constant. Because there's always something you could be doing for school. Because you go to school, then you leave, and then you have homework. And there's more stuff you could be studying, there's more stuff that you could be revising, that you could be memorizing, and then you go back to school, and it's a continuous cycle. Because you take your work home with you. And when you're in the job fields, like, when you go to a 9 to 5, you come home and your job stays there. Yep. You're free from it for that brief period from, like, 5 in the afternoon to 9 a.m. the next day. Yeah. But when you're a YouTuber, that never stops. No. It's a job with homework.
Yeah. You want to hear something, like, crazy fucking nuts? What? I haven't been out of school since I was 4 years old.
You're still in school.
Still in school.
Well, you'll be done soon, though.
I wasn't truly free until I was 3, man. 3 years old was the prime number for me. That was amazing. And it is a prime number, ironically. Alright, I need to stop talking. I just took an exam, so, you know what?
That's funny. No, but it's
speaking of homework.
Super true, though.
Just let me die.
And it's difficult because you have people in your life who also, like, don't understand that. So it's like, oh, it's a job, so why don't you take a break? Well, I've had so many different friends who are just like, why are you still working? Wow, you work all the time. And even... I mean, David does stuff with me, but he has a way more healthy understanding because he's not, like, Leslie Knope about everything. And so I'll be working 12 hours, and then David will be like, stop, it's 6 p.m. Normal people stop working after 6 p.m. You're gonna die. And I'm like, I still have work to do. Like, it never stops. And the funny thing is, I'm not uploading. Like, from the outsider's perspective, I'm gone. You know what I mean? But I've made so much content that's never going to be seen by anybody. Like, and I've trashed it.
Really hard. Like, I have 2 completed videos right now. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I understand.
Same, actually. I do too. I have 3. I have 3 completed videos. Actually, 4 or 5 if you include the ones I trashed.
It's a very strange feeling because, you know, if you're an artist, you get it. You really do.
Yeah.
You hate everything you create.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad, not because anything, just because you created it. I don't know. It's it's so
basically.
That's so true.
Intense with YouTube because it's your literal face. And your voice. And you know what I hate most about myself is my fucking voice. It is not fun to listen to yourself talk.
And then you're also putting it in a place where it's, like, attached to very real numbers and very real people's opinions. So, it's all coming at you at once.
How anybody ever does this is incredible. I guess once you get your own editor, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
I know.
What
is that the ultimate goal now? Because that's something that I've been thinking about forever. Like, I've been debating, like, I don't know, taking on an intern at least to, like, have, like, a half editor. Does that make sense? Because I don't ever want to completely give up, like, the full creative control that I have over my videos. Because I feel like if I do, then they're not going to look like my videos.
Yeah. You have a style.
I'm not going to have the same attachment to them. Yeah. So I feel like having someone just to do, like, the first rough edit where you, like, go through the pauses, that would be so great.
It's half the battle to go through, like,
it is.
Get a clean cut of anything.
I'll tell you, having David do base, well, I call them base edits. I don't know if that's the proper term, but I'm just like, David, base edit this. And, you know, he has his own life and his own job. So, you know, he has his own things that he does. But he'll do it, and it's just like, so much better. Because then you, like, have this, this free mind to be like, oh, this edit would be funny here. And you're not, like, halfway tired from, like, editing 2 hours of footage. And you don't already hate it. You're like, this is fun. I like the way you edited it. Now I'm going to put fun graphics. It's a lot easier.
Yeah. Like, so much of, like, the editing style and all of the, like, personality editing portion comes in, like, the last 10% of the edit. When you just throw in all of the, like, cosmetic stuff.
Yeah. I was speaking with an editor for the PBS thing I'm working on, and I said, if you can hear me breathe, you've paused too much.
It's so true.
And he looked at me like I was
Yeah.
fucking crazy, because, you know, classically trained editors are like, what?
Or like, what?
Breathing is not okay.
Yeah.
Like, breathing is not appropriate on screen.
Breathing is a
I don't
pointless,
breathe.
like, pause. There's no reason. Like, I do that. Like, I'll be speaking and then breathe in or pause for a second and I'm like, oh, I've got to cut that out.
That's a cut.
And it just looks like you just speak continuously. Yeah, it's like, that is a jump cut. You do not leave, like, any point in which you can hear or see yourself breathing.
Yeah.
If there's no sound coming out, then there's no point.
That's dead air.
That is the biggest way to tell a difference between a new YouTuber and a, like, OG YouTuber who's been at this for years, is how much of a pause they leave. Because any new YouTuber leaves way too many pauses. All of my old videos are, like, an extra minute that could be cut out. And it drives me nuts listening
it's
to it.
amazing.
Like,
and then
cut it out.
Going even further, like, once you get that out, and then you go in even more. And then you do, I think Echo, you call it audio embedding. And so you go even to, like, the closest to where you hear the audio start, and you cut, and then you cut, and you overlay the two so they overcross.
Yeah, so that they actually blend. So
30 entire seconds from a video just making those tiny, tiny cuts from multiple clips. It's crazy.
I always do that. And, like, every single time, like, I'll edit it down to, like, a 17, 12-minute video or something, and then after I cut out all those pauses, it'll take out, like, 30 seconds to a minute of just, like, dead air.
Yeah. People cannot possibly understand this unless they're YouTubers. So, this is what we're talking about. Like, I know it sounds like such an old person thing to say, but taking an internet break, it's just, when I say those words now, instead of like, ugh, you're an old person, I feel inside of me like,
It's like, what? You can't keep up?
It's like the I don't know, more verbal version of like a contented sigh to me nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, I mean,
no internet.
If you look at it, what was it? I was on Tumblr. I know it's funny we're talking about that when I was on Tumblr, but I saw somebody say, like, I think the human brain now currently processes 100 times more information than somebody ever did in, like, you know, the 1700s. And then somebody responded and said, yeah, and that's why we all have anxiety. It's because there's so much information on the internet that we're constantly consuming that our brains, listen, I don't do science, I'm probably wrong, but this makes logical sense. Our brains weren't, like, we haven't evolved to the point to be able to handle that much information from so many different sources.
I can speak for myself.
And so, I haven't taken, like, I'm taking an internet break right now. I'm always either taking a content break and I'm still creating, or I'm, you know, doing one or the other, but I've managed to do this, like, ongoing internet break after a certain time every day. So I've, like, a firm, like, when I'm done with if I'm working, it's silly, but if I'm working and I'm on my phone or whatever, I'll be on the internet, I'll be on Twitter, checking here and there, blah, 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 helping me get my work done. And then once I'm done, that's it. I'm not looking at Twitter articles anymore. I'm not checking my comments. I'm not looking at Instagram. I am hanging out with my husband watching anime, or I'm watching YouTube videos to just consume content. And then I'm also taking a firm, like, Sunday is my day to do jack shit. I will be on the internet if I feel like it. But, I don't know, just making those parameters for myself to have, like, intermittent firm breaks has been so much easier to process.
I've been kind of trying to do the same thing recently. I got, like, a magnet board and magnets and stuff.
Yeah.
So that I can try to accurately separate my work time from my personal time, which is so difficult. So I've broken it down into, like, 2 4-hour sections, because I feel like that's just easier, where I can just sit down at any point in the day and work for 4 straight hours, and then I can be done, and I can take a lunch break or a TV break, whatever, and then come back to it a little bit later and do 4 more hours. 5 days a week. That's just a 40-hour job. That's a reasonable amount of work. And right now I'm just trying desperately to not work more than 40 hours and to stay focused.
It's so hard.
That's like, those are my biggest problems.
I've never worked
so
like
difficult.
that. My hours have always been, I go to school all day almost, because I'm usually on campus like the whole day, or at least I was, not anymore, because I go online. Woo!
Whoop, whoop.
It changes your fucking life.
It does. I loved college online. It was the best.
So I went
amazing.
to campus from like 8 o'clock in the morning until like at least 3, and then I worked for the next 8 hours.
Damn.
Something like that. I don't know. I'm surprised I'm not dead. So, I discovered the most incredible, like, the perfect day to me, and what's most restful to me, isn't not doing anything. I'm too anxious to not do anything. My brain doesn't work like that. I can't.
Yeah.
Freaks me out. I'm not okay. It's sitting and world building. Like, going into your own personal, fictional world, writing down random-ass facts about it, drawing some weird corner of it, drawing a person that, you know, it's not even for, like, a story. It's just, like...
It's just because.
Just because. That
Dude,
is the
that's
most
so
calming
helpful.
thing in the whole world.
Just because creating... No, it is. Just because creating is so helpful. I was, like, creative writing for shitty fandoms just when I was super depressed last year. And I kept it all to myself for a long time. Then I was like, I can make an anonymous account and, like, you know, share it. I've worked hard on this. And then it became I have pressure now. I can't do this anymore. And I haven't done it for, like, 9 months. So, it's
you just slip away.
Yep.
But in the beginning, it's nice.
Yeah.
Which really sucks, because it's, like, one of those things where it's, like, the honeymoon phase of creating, and then when it gets into anything serious, you gotta cut it off and stop.
I think that's key.
Which is weird.
This goes back to internet break.
Yeah.
If I am going to enjoy doing something, I can't post it. Or at least I can't tell myself that I'm going to post it. I have to act like it's just for me, and then if I decide to post it later, that's its own thing. Like, I have to act like the 30 pages I've written out about this fictional world, that's bullshit. Terrible. Yeah. It's just for me, so it's okay. There's no pressure. It's okay that it's bullshit, because nobody in the whole world ever will read it except for me. That's how I feel right now. I'm sure...
It's so helpful to do that.
You know, it
changes all the time.
It's so relaxing. I don't know, man.
No, I do understand having any hobby.
I agree.
What were you gonna say, Echo?
I completely agree. I'm the same way. Like with my drawings, it's like I'll draw things knowing like, okay, this will probably be in a sketchbook tour later, but for now, this is for me. Yeah. This is just a me thing. I don't have to worry about this.
That's exactly why I haven't, like, I've been saying forever, it'd be so fun to post song covers, because I'm a hobbyist musician, so I don't know any technical bullshit. It makes me sleepy. I don't like it, but I do like to sing and meddle. And, it's, I don't know, it's been something I've done since I was a kid. Just, it's so much fun, and it helps me de-stress, and it makes me feel better. But then I think about, like, getting dressed, and editing, and is the camera gonna be right, and what would people think? Is it gonna get copywritten? Do I need to go out of my way to make sure, blah, blah, blah. And then the moment I start thinking interneting it, I get stressed out. And it's, like, funny, because those are the easiest fucking videos to make. Back when I was making them, it was sit down, take maybe 20 minutes to get a good take, cut the beginning part where I'm fucking around, cut the end part where I'm done. That's it, the end, export. Like, you're done. It's just not hard. But I cannot bring myself to do it. And it's like, when you're doing it just for yourself, it really does make a huge difference. And you don't always have to put everything on the internet, which is, I guess, a good lesson for us all to learn. Not everything needs to be on the internet.
It's so hard when you're a YouTuber, though, because when you make something, there's this constant, like, ooh, I could turn this into income. This could help me pay my bills.
I think the problem is...
So the idea of, like,
we're the
leveraging happiness.
We're the content.
That's the problem. If the content was... like, if I was a tech channel, or if I was a beauty channel, or if I was... I guess beauty's kind of the same idea as you're the content. Video game probably would be great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could think of all these different types of channels that they're not the content, and I can't imagine it's the same.
Like, people are coming to that video to learn about the iPhone. People are coming to that video to learn how to do makeup, to watch this gameplay. And then, like, the human aspect definitely has something to do with them staying. And, like, oh, I like learning my tech from this person because they're entertaining. But people don't go to that. So, like, if somebody's watching a YouTube video to watch, like, stories or, you know, like, this is how I do blah 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 without like this step by step, this is this new phone situation, they're coming for you. They're like, does this human entertain me enough? Let's see. Like, you know, what I mean?
It's our face, it's our voice, it's the things that we draw, which is so personal. Like, art is so personal, and it's
and people come for your style and everything.
It's I don't know if anybody. I feel like if anybody's gonna understand us, it's gonna be the millennials. Like, they've got to get this kind of pressure. They've got to understand it, because it's all of us. I keep going back to the Make Happy, Bill Burnham show.
Oh God, I love Make Happy.
It's so perfect. Like,
what part?
We're all performers. We're the generation of performers. We're all performing for other people, and then nobody's happy. We're all pretending to be so fucking happy online. And then
we're all like performing our personalities.
Yeah. So
I always try so hard to like make content that makes me happy, therefore it looks like I'm always happy. But I also attempt to, particularly on Instagram, because there's a stigma with that, to be like, hey, I posed for this. I had to set up lights for this picture, just so you know. Like, I'm not just pretending to do this. And people are like, oh, so I think I posted a picture of me playing, like, Zelda or something. I was like, this is an opportunity. I'm playing Zelda. And somebody's like, how do you even look so good when you're playing Zelda? And I was like, sweet pea, David took this picture. We played with the f-stop. I edited it. I made a educated decision about this. I do not look like this when I'm playing video games. You know what I mean? Breath of the Wild, I finally got it on the Switch. Super dope. I was so excited. I've been itching for it, and I finally got it.
You have a Switch?
I fucking played it. I have a Switch. We have a Switch. It's so good. Oh,
I need to get a Switch.
I got so excited, so I wanted to put it on Instagram, and it was amazing. But anyway,
I'm surprised I didn't see that. I guess I don't go on the internet very much anymore. This is another problem.
There's nothing wrong with that.
My friends.
And it's also like Instagram is one of those things where I really like photography. It's a really fun hobby for me. I like editing, and it's like, yeah, I'm putting it up there, but it's like low key, no pressure, just because it's like it's getting me outside. It's getting me to go to cool places. It's helping me like decompress. But also I know that the people who watch me are like, oh my God, how are you perfect all the time? And I'm like, this is a lie. You know what I mean? I need you to know that this is a lie. I need you to know that this is me being artistic. Like, please don't think that it's just like this all the time. And that's how people tend to think. It's like, oh, if you post
YouTube, it's the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, if you post it, then that's how it is.
The idea of people thinking I always wear makeup.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's a huge thing for me. Like, people thinking that you always look that way, and I'm like, no, I spent like half an hour putting on makeup for this video, and then that's how I look for the rest of the day because of that video.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm not putting on makeup.
Yep.
Like, I'll do eyeliner, and that's it, and then I don't look human.
Yep.
I don't know. And then like when I don't put on makeup, I feel like I'm lying and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't actually look that pretty. What am I doing? Because then I don't know. I feel like guilty almost for being human outside of YouTube. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
And then it's just like, it's one of those stupid things that like eats away at me.
I've been watching a heck ton of old Dita Von Teese interviews. She fascinates me. She's always fascinated me because, you know, she's always on. She's one of those people who's like, does she ever not look perfect? And then when you watch her, she is always perfect. She works out in a lingerie bra. Like, she looks wonderful all the time. But when she talks to you, she's not just like, I must look perfect because the people expect me to look perfect. She's like, well, what I'm doing is comfortable for me. She's like, I am happy to just slip on a dress and flats rather than wearing sweats. It's like the same amount of effort, and I'm comfortable, and it makes me happy. She's very much an ambassador for doing what makes you happy, and what makes her happy just so happens to be very glamorous to other people. And she's always like, I'm very self-made. She's like, I'm a very normal looking girl, and I feel more like me when I do these things. And I know how to be comfortable at home. It's just on brand because this is how much I love this stuff. And so I very much appreciate her, like, she embraces the fact that she loves makeup and that she loves being gussied up, but she's also like, hey, like, I'm a normal human and I like being comfortable, and it's okay to have both. You know, like, she's very, I don't know. Watch Dita Von Teese interviews.
Feminism right there.
She's
is
fucking
the
goals.
To do either.
Dita Von Teese is queen,
Yeah.
and she's such goals. I adore her. The more I watch her interviews, the more I'm just like, yes, Dita. Yes.
I don't know. Wait, I don't know if I know who this
I don't
is.
think I do
Dita
either.
Von
I'm
Teese?
thinking.
Okay, Google Dita Von Teese. You'll see what I'm
doing
talking
it,
about.
doing it.
She started as a stripper, and then she always loved vintage stuff, and then she started being like, well, I don't want to be a rock and roll beach blonde with the tan. I like old movies. I like, you know, Marilyn Monroe. I like, you know, Betty Page and all this stuff. So she dyed her hair, and she started looking into burlesque. So she was like, well, where does stripping come from? This burlesque is so glamorous. Oh my gosh, that's right up my alley. And she's all about embracing sexuality, but also, like, dressing the way you want to dress for yourself. And she's such a perfect feminist. I love her
so. Marilyn Manson?
So
No, she was.
Oh,
she was married.
Oh, shit,
10
man.
years ago.
Oh, wait, I think I know
I
who
totally
she is.
do. I knew it from that.
Yeah, she is such a
Okay,
sweet.
cool.
She's lovely in every way. Looking at her, she seems so, like, puffed up and, like, to herself, but she talks and she's just like, yeah, I like going to raves at Burning Man. And I'm like, you go to raves at Burning Man? Like, you know what I mean? It's just very... So what I've gathered is, like, there's no harm. If you're at home and you feel happy to do your eyebrows or to do, like, one thing that just makes you feel less icky, do it. She's the one who's going to be like, you do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if you want to get gussied up, because that makes you feel more like you in front of other people, then that's perfect. You do it. You know what I mean? I love her. I'm sorry. David's like, hush about Dita. I've been talking about her so much.
I think that's great.
I love her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry about the little tangent, but love yourself exactly the way you are, and if you
beautiful.
like it, then that's perfect.
This is a tangent to the tangent. If any of us just happen to be in London again, I want to go to this, like, one really, really good burlesque show
my
that
God,
I
I
want to
go to see a burlesque show so bad.
It's so good. It was the best thing I've ever seen. It was like, they had, like, so many relatable moments, and I was just like, I love every single one of these women, and they're, like, my heroes, and I love them. So if we're ever there again, that's my, like, we need to do this thing.
I've been
If we ever
wanting
happen to be in London again,
I'm
gonna
down for that.
hunt them down.
My dude.
Oh,
Ever
yeah.
since
Get
watching
tickets, 'cause
all of these Dita interviews,
so
I'm like,
good.
I want to go to a burlesque show. I followed her on Twitter, and I'm like, when are you coming to New York? Not anytime soon, unfortunately, but yeah, I'm down with the burlesque show.
I went to a Madonna concert.
Hell
It
yeah.
kind of felt like a burlesque show as somebody who's never been to a burlesque. That was an
That's hilarious.
experience.
Madonna is an experience.
She's pretty cool.
She's pretty
Feel
cool.
neutral,
She's pretty
positive.
cool. Yeah,
That's
neutral.
my
I'm
new-
pretty neutral.
Yeah, that's how I feel about most things nowadays. Just neutral, positive.
I
No
feel
strong
ya.
feelings.
I feel ya.
We should get back to our
We should.
internet thing.
Yeah.
We weren't talking
So,
about.
like,
Sorry.
What do you
This was
guys
my-
think?
Hannah, have you taken... Oh, no, go for it.
Wait, no, you do it.
Have you had, like, internet breaks?
This is like my first one in 6 years. And
Mm.
it's because I got a little overwhelmed with my master's classes. And because I'm getting my MBA now, for those of you that don't know. And so I got a little overwhelmed and I was like, why am I doing this all at the same time for 6 years? First time it occurred to me in 6 years, you know. Took a second to think about it. And I was like, I don't have to do this. So it's been a month, maybe a little bit over a month. And I've really pulled back. Like, if you look at my Twitter and my YouTube and my everything, I've, like, pulled back a ton. And it's been in the works for a while of me kind of, like, wanting to retreat. Pretty much since the VidCon we went to. Where I was like, I don't know if I love this anymore. Oh no! And it was kind of like a crisis in my own head. And then I just was like, I need to take a second to think about whether I really love this. And I haven't missed it yet. Which is the part that's kind of sad. Like, bittersweet, you know?
Yeah.
Of like thought I'd miss posting videos more than I do. Turns out it's a lot more stress than it was fun. Oh no!
Oh no, yeah.
It used to be so fun. It really did. And I'm just kind of like, maybe if I take a break long enough, it'll be fun again. Question mark?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. So
Maybe.
that's kind of where I'm at, of just like, I feel like I'm almost in like a rehab of, or like sabbatical.
Yeah,
I don't know.
YouTube rehab.
Yeah, man,
YouTube
just like
rehab.
social media rehab of like, take a fucking second to think about if this matters at all. And
Yeah.
you know,
Have you guys been watching The Mind of Jake Paul?
Hell yes, I have. Oh my god, I love.
is that
Have
Shane
you seen
Dawson's
them?
thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The first two
I'm-
that have been released.
Commercials.
Fascinated with how it's gonna go.
Okay.
I know the second one, people were up in arms about some stuff, and Shane even said that he's going to address it. He's not releasing the third episode until Monday because he has to re-record the little opener to address the stuff that people didn't like about episode 2. Anyway, I'm very
Tell me
interested to
everything.
see.
What was it? How do?
Yeah, I didn't hear about this drama portion. I have watched it. I'm still taking it with a grain of salt. I just want to throw that out there. I'm taking the whole series with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I'm still probably not going to like Jake Paul by the end of this.
No,
and I really
no.
hope that this
The
doesn't
thing
turn
is,
out to be
I
just,
don't
like, good.
think
What
the thing is, I don't think Shane's trying to do that, and the Shane very obviously.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a
He
fluff
talks
piece
so much
thing
shit
or
about
whatever.
Jake the entire time. He's just like,
Yeah.
he's just like one of those people who just want to like punch in the face. Like he said that in episode 2, and I was laughing so hard. I'm 90% sure he says he's just truly fascinated by how a human could be like Jake Paul is. So he is determined to get to the bottom of it. So the first episode was him getting the internet's opinion, quote unquote. So this guy who makes pretty much content explicitly about the crazy shit that they do, and trying to expose
well,
them.
also just like YouTube drama in general.
The YouTube
He's
drama
like
of it.
He like analyzes YouTubers, which
Yes.
is really fascinating.
Incredible. I love it.
Yes. So Shane talked to him, picked his brain. Episode 2, we're going to go to more and more. What does a professional think without knowing that that's what we're talking about? So what do you think about somebody with these kinds of behaviors? What is a sociopath? And they talked to this YouTuber called Katie Morton, and she breaks down what a sociopath
She's great, by the
is.
way.
Yes, she's lovely.
Anyone subscribe to her, please?
And
great.
it was a professional's opinion on the psychology of how a human can behave this way. But people were mad about that because Katie's the editing and Katie's word choices here and there. She would be like, they do this and it's really gross, or they do this and it's kind of creepy. And people were mad, like, don't call people with unavoidable mental illnesses gross or creepy. You shouldn't do that. And then also the way it was edited was very horror movie-esque. So, and the music behind it was very, honestly,
Yeah, it was very dramatic.
It kind of
it
demonized.
was like it was meant to be dramatized. Like it felt very like conspiracy theory video kind of
have you watched
that style of editing.
any TV ever? Like, it's not like it's any better.
Yeah.
Essentially, it kind of,
Especially
as somebody
American
who
TV.
didn't know too much about sociopaths to get started with, I walked away from it being like, wow, are they really that horrible? Like, it put a sour taste in my mouth to be like, oh, like, that's kind of a lot. So,
the definition is like lacks empathy.
and it demonized
Yeah.
them a bit.
See,
And so Shane wants to address it and be like, hey, I know that
That makes
some
sense.
people who are sociopaths are good people, like that kind of
They're
stuff.
good business people.
yeah, see, they're really good business people.
I mean,
like
it's most
some of the most
political people.
successful people
It's
are
a majority
some of the most successful
CEOs
people are
and business-
sociopaths.
like,
You
politicians
have to
in
be
general.
like that.
Well, yeah. I
Yeah.
guess that's what it comes down to. The way a capitalistic market works is that way. That's
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's good or bad. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes difficult choices easier to make.
Yeah.
If you don't have to feel for other people.
I think
Yes.
everybody has a touch of, like, I don't know, I'm obviously not a mental health professional, but it's a sliding scale. Everything's a sliding scale. It's not like you're 100% sociopath,
Yeah.
you're 100%...
Like everything's on a
Oh,
spectrum.
absolutely. And I feel like you gotta take... I mean, some people lack empathy because they haven't experienced everything, and I've gotta think that's Jake Paul's situation of just, like, he hasn't
I have my
experienced much.
own opinions. Now that I've watched episode 1 and 2,
Yeah.
I genuinely think Logan is the sociopath.
Oh, absolutely.
Truly a
I think both of them have
sociopath.
a touch of it.
I think Jake might be a narcissist in turn. Because in that same video, she broke down that narcissism is extremely similar to sociopaths, but they have emotions. So what I think is that Jake grew up with an actual sociopathic brother with bad parents who encouraged bad behavior, right? So Logan grew up to do this and was overshadowing Jake. Jake did the younger sibling thing, was trying to keep up, trying to emulate this sociopathic behavior to the point that he's finally getting attention from his parents, so he's now a narcissist. So now, that's what I think. I think he's a narcissist, and I think his brother's a true sociopath. Because his brother's hurt things and has turned it back on himself. So he tased a fish.
Yeah.
And said, well, they thought I was a victim, so I just played the villain role in the thing with Casey Neistat. And that's literally what Katie said sociopaths do. See, Jake, as much as he's reckless, he's never injured a being. He's never physically injured a being.
I don't know, dude. Have you seen the way that he treats, like, his girlfriend and the other
like
housemates?
shit.
Like, the pranks that he pulls on them is vicious.
Tasing a fish and, like, playing with a dead rat, I feel like is on a different level than doing, like, a really fucked up prank. You know what I mean? Like, the shit that Logan does makes me be like, oh, sweetie, if you were pushed in the wrong direction, you could murder somebody on purpose. Like, that's what I feel from Logan.
Any of us could.
I know that.
So,
but I feel like he's closer
again,
than most
people. I feel
people.
like we need to keep saying we're not mental health professionals. We're
No.
just speculating here.
No. This is all speculation. I am a fool.
Even
like,
I am a fool. Don't listen to me.
What's her name? Katie Morton?
Yeah.
She was saying that, like, even though she is a professional, she is still a human.
Yes.
And is capable of making mistakes and, like,
yes.
Of course.
Like,
yeah.
Just approach everything with caution, essentially.
Yes.
And I do like that in the second video, I thought this was like, this is just a Shane thing, so I feel like I dismissed his vernacular words or whatever a little bit more, because he was the only person who would actually say the word sociopath, whereas Katie Morton would say, what is it, antisocial personality disorder?
Yes. Yeah.
Is like the actual, like, clinical term, I want to say, that's used now. Which I feel like provides more respect towards it versus, like, saying sociopath.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like Katie had more of a respect for it, whereas the editing and, like, the way that Shane would talk about it was what was making it feel kind of like...
I don't know what you expect. He's an entertainer. That's what he does. That's what he's done for fucking over 10 years now. I think this is so interesting, and I think it's a great idea to analyze this sort of thing, because it's not normal behavior, and it's treated as normal, and it's being projected to 10-year-olds as normal.
Oh my god, so dude, I think that's the biggest problem.
Yeah. And I think it's fascinating. It's so interesting, but I just want to say that, like, regardless of what mental health, blah, 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 they're experiencing.
Yeah.
And any of us in that situation could be persuaded to do the same thing.
Oh, of course.
And it doesn't mean that their actions are good or bad or the other. Like, I'm not saying anything about that. It's just that what's interesting to me specifically is that any of us could turn into that. That makes it so much more interesting. So it's, I don't know, it's the nature versus nurture kind of thing. Of, like, were they born with a mental health disorder? Possibly. But if you were raised in a household where you never had to want for anything, do you just become a sociopath?
No, apparently it's actually triggered by trauma. Yeah. So, sociopaths explicitly are kind of triggered by trauma. Narcissists sometimes are triggered by trauma or just, like, neglect in their childhood, which is why I'm, like, prone to think the way I think about the Paul brothers.
Yeah.
It makes sense logically. But I can easily see how anybody in any situation, if the stars align depending on your personality, which is what you're naturally prone to, could push anybody to any... I view personalities as a circle. So I feel like there's this huge circle of possibility, and we're a little dot in the circle. And our life pushes us within this realm of this circle. That's possible for our personality. You know what I mean? So, like, if life gives us this, then we're going to be pushed more this way, and we're going to be this kind of a person. But if life gives us this, we're going to be pushed more that way and be that kind of a person. but you're still you in the middle of it. I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not a professional. Let me make that
what's
clear.
his name? Dave
know
from
what I'm
Boyna
talking
Band. He had quoted some statistic in one of his videos about how happiness is 80% genetic.
Oh, you talked about that.
And I feel like that goes for, like, all emotions. Yeah, like, the kind of person you are, it's like the nature versus nurture thing.
Yeah, I'm so interested in that. That's like
oh my
favorite thing
god,
in
there
the
was a
whole world.
beautiful example about how, like, your genetics are, like, the starting point, and then, like, nurture kind of, like, pushes you in whatever direction you're most capable of going.
Yeah.
Or, like, it's like a tree leaning in the forest, kind of. And whichever way you push it, it's gonna fall and shit. Anyway. But, yeah.
There is science behind the
I
fact
don't know,
that
man.
Certain points in your brain, if you have criminalistic tendencies, which they align to antisocial behavior, criminal, antisocial, it kind of lines up. That's how they're doing the studies anyway right now, going off of that logic. Certain points of your brain don't light up as a normal working person. So there is something to be said for just, it's your brain not working right. That's why you don't have empathy for other people. And I don't know exactly where I was going with this, but I think that part is so interesting of, like,
it is
your
interesting.
literal brain doesn't
There
have
is, like,
that.
a physical,
It doesn't have the electrical impulses to feel that. It's so
Yeah, I think it was...
I feel like at this,
there's
that's
less
like
gray matter,
us, though, too.
I believe.
Yeah, it's something like that. But, like, with my depression, it's the same thing where it's, like, I am probably, like, genetically predispositioned to have depression. But I also had, like, a really shit traumatic childhood and went through, like, a bunch of really difficult shit, and that did not help.
Yeah.
So now, as an adult, I'm, like, what is it? A functioning adult child of an alcoholic. I don't drink any alcohol whatsoever. And a large part of that is because I had an alcoholic parent.
Yeah.
And this is, like, a straight up thing, like, to the point where there are, what is it? It's like AAA meetings where it's like ACA. It's like adult children of alcoholics, where you can go to group therapy session kind of things if your parents were alcoholics. And a lot of the time, children of, like, alcoholics will either have a severe problem with alcohol or a severe avoidance of alcohol, which is not surprising. And I was like, how did they peg me so well? How did they know? It's
so
like finding out that, like...
Yeah, human patterns of behavior is my favorite thing in the whole world. And I wish... I feel like I could enjoy school if I learned about that sort of thing. Why don't they have that in, like, high school to make children excited?
Psychology in high school would actually be I would take that.
It would have changed.
That'd be so great.
Game changer right there.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
I think that's fascinating. Well, let's tie it back. What do you
Talking
think
about, like,
psychology
mental
has to
illnesses and
do with taking internet breaks?
Everything. If the internet doesn't give you anxiety, like, you're not interneting properly.
It's so true.
Yeah. I feel like part of it is that the internet doesn't ever stop. It's always going. It's like New York. It's the like the screaming box that never sleeps and it just yells at you 24/7. And then sometimes you just gotta throw a blanket over it, put in some earbuds, and pretend it's not screaming at you.
Yeah.
From all corners.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yep.
God,
Yeah,
it's so loud.
Yeah.
It's so loud. I will
so
say
loud.
that I even though my inclination is to immediately open my computer or my phone in the morning, when I do that and something not great is on Twitter, it always sets a weird tone for my day. Like, always. I feel so much better when I, like, get my coffee, wash my face, like, take my vitamins, stretch, meditate, and then I open, like, the computer. My day is exponentially better than when I just, like, open it first thing and I'm like, oh, everybody's horrible, that's so great, let's start the day.
I've done the same thing by getting addicted to that stupid, like, grow little chibi boys game, because that replaced my morning Twitter routine. So instead of getting up and, like, scrolling through Twitter for an hour in bed looking at all the terrible things that have already happened in the beginning of the morning throughout the rest of the country, I just get up and, like, feed my little plants and, like,
so
give everyone water cans, and then I go on with my day.
I think my this should be our, like, positive, is, like, our nice morning thing.
Okay.
So
a nice morning.
Yes. What is our
escape.
Not internet screaming thing?
I escape in the morning through a D&D podcasts, any of them, all of them.
Nice.
I listen to a lot of them, but right now I'm listening to the Nick Elroy's. and they are so good. They do the My Brother and Me podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, I saw I saw a video of that on Tumblr, and then somebody edited, I guess, all the funniest parts, and I don't know what it was, but I was like, I don't know what this is, but I need to watch it.
They are so heckin' funny. They're just the nerdiest little boys in the whole world, and they play D&D with their dad. And
that's so funny.
It is my fucking favorite. I've listened to it 3 times now. That's a
so
little
cute.
Embarrassing. But I've listened to the whole It's like 100-something episodes, and I just keep listening to it over and over. There's something very comforting in repetition for me. It's like a little more that. Repetition.
Also, having something in the background is great.
It is great.
Yeah.
To drown out the thoughts.
Yep. The thoughts.
The screaming internet box. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What about you, Echo?
Yeah.
How would you do
My morning/Twitter distraction is Mandrake Boys, which is stupid little game.
Sad.
Oh, also, I broke 300 on the leaderboards. I am officially in, like, the top 300 players of this game. I just want to throw that out there.
That's
all the players, I'm, like, 296 or something. I've never been that high on, like, a public app game server thing ever.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I love this game so much, but it's just one of those games where it's like you plant things and then you wait. So when you plant all your stuff at night, you wake up the next day and it's all good. So you get to like pick all of your plants and like share all of your water cans and collect all the water cans from your friends and like get all your like fancy illustration stuff done. And then you just like plug it all in again and wait. It's a good game. It's a good morning thing.
I went over my very brief schedule, but I mean, I wake up, a coffee. I've been an old person lately, but like in the best way, where I'm like drinking my coffee. And okay, so we recently I mentioned this in the mental health like podcast that we're pretty sure David has PTSD. We got him into BetterHelp, and yes, he does have PTSD. And so we're taking herbal supplements instead of medicine because we don't want to do medicine as a last thing. It's actually going swimmingly. Absolutely going well.
Awesome.
And it's also not $1 million, and we don't have to go to the doctor.
Yeah. My therapist recommended the same thing. She has me taking, like, magnesium and stuff along with my
And
medication.
so he's been doing...
that you're talking about that right now. I stopped taking my medication as well, really slowly.
Actually,
so
we will talk after this, but I have recommendations, particularly for anxiety, because that's what David talks about. But ever since that happened, he's been doing so well, and he's had so much energy. I've been like, you know what? I should also take vitamins. So, like a grown-up. So I've been looking up, like, what I should take. I don't go outside as much. I'm taking vitamin D. I'm taking probiotics. I'm taking, like, actually collagen for my insides and to continue to be glowing and nice well into my 50s.
Healthy hair and nails.
Yes. And I'm stretching and I'm watching my face, and I'm also been really into, I've always liked this podcast called the Liturgist Podcast, but I support them on Patreon, and they give like these really dope meditations, so I've been listening to one every morning, and they're anywhere from like 5 to 15 minutes, but it's such a great way to center me before I move on into life, and it's been so nice. So I'm old about it, but it's been good.
Yeah, you sound
being
like
old isn't that bad. I know. I'm taking my vitamins and meditating, you know, like I don't know.
I sound like a teenage boy with
like an 80-year-old woman.
So, I love it though.
It is.
And I sound like a teenage girl with my Mandrake Boys.
Look at us being inappropriate for our age. Crystal in a very different way.
Eating my plain Rice Krispies cereal. So good. Somebody the other day asked me, Crystal, how old do you feel? I was like, well, I love, you know, otome games, and I love anime, and I love young things, but I'm also, you know, taking vitamins and meditating in the morning, so I don't know.
You're like one of those like hippie 80 or 70-year-old women who's just like all, like whatever, like the 70-year-old that never grew up.
That's me. I'm gonna be the 70-year-old with bright ass purple hair who never grew the fuck up. That's gonna be me. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna have great also apple cider vinegar in my water in the morning. Speaking of old things.
Oh yeah. Apple cider vinegar is great.
Oh, also beet propolis is another thing I take in the morning. Okay, so that's
What is
birthed
this one?
from... Okay, we're going off on a tangent. Then we're going to wrap it up.
Okay.
I hate getting sick. I hate getting sick. Now that I'm working by myself, like, I hate it even more because I can't get out of work. Now I'm just behind. So, apple cider vinegar with water in the morning, every single day. You won't get sick. 2, beef propolis actually does a bunch of stuff, but also prevents you from getting sick. And it's super good. It helps prevention of cancer cells. It helps, like, your digestion. It helps a bunch of different stuff. But, yeah, so I'm trying really hard to not get sick because I hate it. So, that's... Vitamins are great, kids. That's my positive.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, I just want to throw out there, like, apple cider vinegar. I have, like, a bottle of it in my, like, pantry at all times because it's great for whenever you have, like, nausea or,
oh my
like,
god, yes.
Food poisoning. Anytime you feel like throwing up, just, like, cup of hot water with, like, a couple spoonfuls of, like, apple cider vinegar. It tastes just like really sour apple cider.
Yes.
But it instantly, cures nausea.
Mm-hmm. Dude, if you feel like you're coming down with a cold, just take a capful of apple cider vinegar and water, like, 3 or 4 times a day, and then you won't get sick. I've actually stopped a cold,
Apple
like,
cider
4 or
vinegar.
5 times.
Great.
Because
I
of that.
put it in, like, almost everything I cook, but I cook a lot of, like, Asian food. I just fucking dump it in there. I also put it on my face all the time.
Well, that's great. That helps reduce redness. Now you're just learning tips.
Yeah, guys. There's our vitamin
Yeah, I think
supplements.
apple cider vinegar is our positive.
Don't
Apple
forget
cider
to
vinegar
rub
is
fucking
the
essential
real
oil over your
MVP
Yes,
of the
this
internet
podcast.
break. Now, this episode was brought to you by apple cider vinegar.
No specific company, just in general.
Just
Can
apple cider
apple
vinegar.
cider vinegar sponsor us?
Hell yeah.
All of the apple cider vinegar.
Just great value apple cider vinegar. That's my jam.
Okay, you can find us on Mondays sometimes on Google Play, iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud. And our handles are...
At Happy Panda Party.
At Echo is Weird?
And at The Crystal Joy.
And remember, friends, the human body cannot survive without salt. Thank you for listening.
Thank you!
Bye!
Bye!
Bye!